Okay, today on Psychopath Presents, we're going to be installing LEDs. What can I say about them? Well, they're going to be in the wheel wells. I'm also going to be installing one in my center console, which would make a total of 5 strips of LEDs. Here on Psychopath Presents. Things you're going to need. In my case, or in probably most people's cases, I got a fancy switch here. See your positive, negative, and your light. Okay, there's your switch, turn it on and off. Going to need heat shrink. Wire strippers. There's more than one style, as you've seen I have before. Is the other one I'm going to use. Right, strip wire. Gonna need some wire. Usually better to have the red and the black, but I just got some extra wire hanging around, so I'm gonna get rid of this stuff. 22, 24 gauge would be good. You need your solder. It's best to use a heat gun, but I don't have one, so I'm gonna use this and just be very light with it. Where did I put it? You need your soldering iron. Something to hold soldering iron, simple pair of scissors, maybe some zip ties for tying up some of the wire. You need your 9-volt battery, and of course your LEDs. This stuff is not the waterproof stuff, but it's going inside the car, so it shouldn't really matter. Now, it's always a good idea right at the beginning, make sure your LEDs work. That's where the 9-volt battery comes in. Okay, see if I can let you see. Positive, positive, negative, negative. I don't know if you can actually see that. We're actually on. Come on, stop shaking, you know. See? Okay, I already snipped this piece off of here. How you do that? I've already pre-measured for the front. Okay, measure off your piece, which will come to right about there. Okay, and you can see there's a little pair. Come on, focus. You can see right there, pair of scissors right here, and you snip right in the middle of it. Bam, just like that. And now, okay, there's the 2 contacts. Simple as that. Now, I'm going to measure out for my other 2 pieces. Well, I'll show you how I measure. It's going to be really hard to do with the phone. But, you know, I'm just going to measure generally across. Yeah, it's going to go in my center console. I don't want it to be, I don't know how long I really want it to be. Maybe 4. Yeah, 4 would be good. Once again, see right at the scissors. I'm going to snip right in the middle, so you'll see you'll have your copper contacts on both sides. Right? In fact, this even should show you. Oops. Helps if I don't drop the phone. What side's positive and what side's negative. Okay? Now that I have my LEDs cut, I pulled my center console off. It just pops right off. just make sure you're very gentle popping it off. See, you can see all the tabs, because it feels like it's going to break. So I started over in this corner, worked my way across the top, kind of half down this side a bit, and then went across the bottom and just popped right off. Okay, that'll give me some room in there. I'm going to pop this off. Hopefully I can get to my 12-volt cigarette lighter cigarette lighter, and I'm gonna hopefully use that for my positive and my negative. I'm gonna try and do that. We'll see if that works. I'm mounting my switch over here, which I've already popped off, which is this thing. Looks like a really appropriate place. Once again, this thing actually surprised me. It just, if you look at it, it just popped right out. I actually found that out by accident. So on the back you got that, but then there's a whole bunch of supports, so I had to modify it slightly. But as you'll see, my switch, if I put it in backwards, will fit in there perfectly. It's going to sit a little bit on the high side, but otherwise it should fit in there rather nice and sweet. And my wires will come in the back, and I'm going to run them all sweetly. So now, next I am going to do is solder my wires to, well actually I'm not going to do that yet. What we're going to do now is take one piece at a time and run the measure out the length of wires from one LED to the next, because I'm running mine in series, which means going from one LED to the next, and then from that LED to the next LED, and then from that LED to the next one. That's how I'm running mine. So that's what we're going to do now, is I'm going to measure all that out. Maybe I'll film a little bit of that. Once again, I am looking out. This boot, literally, you just stick your thumb underneath it and it just pops right up. Then I had to put the car, turn it on, make sure you use the emergency brake. I also put a block under my tire to make sure the car doesn't roll anywhere. Put it in neutral, and my center console here, as you see, it's all removed. I just reached inside where the boot was and literally grabbed and just pulled, and it popped up and came right out. And it came onto this side. Well, what I've done now is right here is one of my 2 cigarette lighters. So I've undone it. So red and black. But I said before that dark is usually positive, light is negative, but well, that's what I read online. You can never test it or trust everything you read online, so I'm going to grab my meter and I'm going to double check which one's positive and which one's negative, and then I'm going to use my wire splicers so I can splice into them for my my LEDs. So this is where I'm running my wire to. So first of all, I need to do a measurement from my switch over to my my positive and my negative, and then I need to run all my wires. So I'm going to start measuring out all my wire now. Okay, I know this looks like a wiring mess, but whew, I got everything hooked up. Everything's got to be hooked up in series, not in parallel. Which means all your negatives got to be connected together, all your positives have to be connected together. Okay, so more or less all my negatives are going to run in more or less to indirectly, obviously. I'm only going to have one wire coming off of this, but the ground, which is right there. And all the positives are going to run to there, right there. And that's actually my, or is it there? I'm going to test the switch just to make sure I have them hooked up correctly before I hardwire it in. But I just got to do a little bit of soldering here, and then I'm going to throw all the wires in. And but I've done I hooked everything up to the battery, and all the lights came on. So all the wires are connected properly, so it's just a matter of soldering and making sure all my ends are connected properly. So I'll come back when I'm a little bit further along. Sorry, you'll have to excuse the fact that it's dark. I got my 2 joints done. One of them I had to snap, the other one I actually, or the tie-in. The other one I actually didn't, so I had to solder it. And that was for my switch, which brings my flashlight over here. It's on this side. Okay, there's my switch. All nicely mounted, put it in place. My wires are still hanging down there. Alright, passenger side. I got one hanging right here for my center console. And I got the 2 in the back seat. Trust me, they're there. So, okay. It's obviously dark out. We got everything done. Let's turn the lights off. Turn the switch on. There's my feet. There's the passenger wheel well. This is 2014 Kia Soul, by the way. Back on that side. Don't just ignore the wire, it's there for a reason. By the driver's side. Center console. Well, that's an interesting story. The wires came off, so I resoldered them and got everything all hooked up. I checked them just before I put the tape on, or stuck it on, and it was still working. Stuck it on, it stopped working, and now I don't know. I play around with it. She don't work. That little hole in there is supposed to light up. But otherwise, yeah, it turned out not too good. Or, I mean, not too bad. Yeah, I know my switch pushes down to turn on. I did that deliberately because my truck at work, all switches push down to turn it on. And I found that pushing it up was a real pain in the butt because I kept forgetting. So, there's your LEDs. Okay, now for my evening tea. Afterthoughts. I bought the LEDs on eBay. You can buy them in a roll. They're extremely cheap to buy. Make sure you get the waterproofing. That's my opinion anyway. Extra protection. The reason I had those blue ones that were not waterproofed was because I didn't bother looking when I was ordering them. Now, when you look at the interior of my car, you probably questioning, you know, my dashboard is red. Why didn't I install red? Well, that's a great question. I actually ordered red, and when my LEDs came in, I showed them on my last video that I was planning on installing red LEDs and didn't bother testing them. Stupid me. Well, I tested them today, and don't they turn out to be green? Well, green, sorry, just going to look stupid. The only other 2 colors I have lying around is the blue, which was not waterproofed, and white. And white to me was just going to be too bright inside that car, because I'm looking for just a dim light to give me a little bit of, so I, you know, like light, just lights it up enough so I can see inside the car without having to turn the interior light on. That's actually the reason I wanted to do it. Run all your wires in series. If you have any questions about that, YouTube it. Okay, there's lots of people that drop diagrams about how to run wires. This is just how I do it, how I did it. The most difficult part I found was when you actually take the LEDs and you actually have to take the wire and solder it to the positive and the negative connections. That was very difficult. Put a little bit of solder on the wire, use your soldering iron, put a little bit of solder on the wire, put a little bit of solder on the contact, hold the wire on the contact, touch it, the 2 of them will melt together. It worked actually the best, but I have shaky hands, so that made it rather difficult. You can get handy helpers, which are 2 little clamps that'll hold everything for you, hold it in place, and all you do is touch and whatever, but I don't have it. I really should invest in it. That definitely would have helped a lot, but that's what took the longest, was all the soldering. And even now, I still got to do more soldering. I might get my brother to come out and do it for me, because his hands are a lot more steady. Otherwise, it turned out really good. I like the switch. I like a lit switch. You know, I don't know, just I like it. But I also, my cigarette lighter shut off when I turn the car off, so I don't have to worry about my lights turning on. You may want them to stay on, you may want them to turn off. I want mine to go off when I turn my car off. So, and that's exactly what happens. Hope this video helps a little bit. Gives you a basic idea on installation on a Kia Soul. I ran all the wires for the rear down the driver's side and just tucked it in underneath the center console. It was actually rather easy to do. Otherwise, I used my wire runner, my green thing. Hopefully you've seen my other videos so you know what I'm talking about. It's specifically my amp install. And I just ran it up, and I was able to tape my wires on and pull them back through. That tool, like, if you don't have one, you got to get one. Those things, it's worth its weight in gold. But here I am carrying on and on and on. I hope the video helped. Last but not least, I didn't actually do it yet because I don't have it. Invest in one of those cheap craft glue guns. What you do is you take like maybe a 200 or 2000 grit sandpaper, 1000, 2000, and use like a sponge. You want to touch it very, very lightly and just go over the plastic very, very lightly, because when they make the molded plastic, there's a film on it that keeps it from sticking to the mold. Well, you want to get rid of that film. Okay, but you don't want to scratch the surface, so you want to just lightly just go over the area very, very lightly, then clean it with rubbing alcohol, and then use the hot glue gun and just put a nice fine bead on your LED lights. This is going to be permanent, and then stick it to it, and it'll stick and it'll stay. Okay, I don't have the glue gun either. It's amazing how many things I don't have. So I taped them and zip tied them temporarily, and I'll probably go pick up maybe the glue gun tomorrow, and I can fix that other LED while I'm at it, and get this all tied up and finished off. Okay, take care everybody, and we'll see you on my next video. Ciao.